As you milk your chickens, please mindfully listen to this homily of the week.
Preemptive amens, my children, for it is Sunday. Go to meeting where we press this newly bedazzled button. Thank you, Joanne, which produces a random faith, active or extinct, always real or eternally fictional, grandiose or petty as fuck. Sorry, Joanne. And once the faith is randomly determined, we will listen to the homily of the week from the pastoral agent of that particular faith, and we will employ discernment on its message to extract what relevance and value it has for our lives. Now, quick, I'm fully quote unquote caffeinated and ready to spin up to the divine. Press the button as you will. Take your time. Wouldn't want you to have any unfinished business with your neighbor before heading to meeting the divine. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Okay, here's some hand sanitizer. You press the button, which flickers and F-Whipples and Gaffunk on the screen is the random faith of the week. 1, the Universal Church for the Preservation of Life. 2, the New Church. 3, the Way for the Path. 5, a course in mindful meditation. 6, Godless. 7, none of the above. 8, breathe out. So the big question of the sermon was this not so subtle plot right there. Can faith be a science as proven to us by the physical realm? If so, does such a state of science require more than the application of critical reasoning to derive an understanding and acceptance of a concept beyond mere opinion? The answers apparently come from the scientific world at large, where people do not simply talk like they thought, rather talk like their thoughts are rooted somewhere more solid. And when it comes to faith, faith is simply a quality in a belief that gives it certainty. And that certainty is the result of the exercise of critical reason upon accepted dogma. So, if faith requires more critical reasoning as demonstrated by empirical testing through empirical evidence, it would seem reasonable to assume a belief should only rest within the borders of what can and can't be known through observable evidence. You choose the Church of none of the above. Press the button, you hear the Universal Church for the Preservation of Life, New Church for the Path. No one here is going to be offended at any response. What did your favorite priest say? I have faith you are all paying close attention. Oh, we should be. We need to get out from under the illusion that gods have nothing better to do but listen when we ask them to. The gods are not here for us, but they can be reached by anyone who knows the proper formula or algorithm. The formula is simple to grasp but quite difficult to apply, especially to complex problems. Let me offer just 3 steps. Step 1, make sure you don't know the whole story. Step 2, seek understanding that makes perfect sense without your interpretation and context. And step 3, make sure you don't even try to understand things, just make shit up. Okay, so I went a bit off piss there. Here's my sermon proper, then the final step, because faith demands the last step to be understood. Bing, you had a question. Endorphin, the Church of none of the above? Joanne, yes! Cry, I am the child of your church. I live and work with all of these beautiful creatures, and no one seems able to take my concerns and questions seriously. I've come today with something really personal. You see, I haven't told my parents, crying hysterically. They will hate me because I'm an atheist, or worse. My life is at stake here, and I thought your church might have some insight and compassion or help. Please. Joanne begins bedazzling everything in sight. press gets nervous. Maybe the church should have some kind of official procedure for this, you think? The universe and all that we all seek happiness, but we will all die regardless. So therefore, if there is not a God or a higher spiritual realm, how can one have true satisfaction and a life lived truly in bliss? Oh, Joanne just got the answer. We are here. It's not like we had no purpose or reason for coming, or goal or plan of any sort, because you are right. Probably aren't any gods to provide guidance. That said, we did come with an algorithm for solving this one in a snap. There is it! We came here to make ourselves a place for humans to live happily. But as far as you humans are concerned, life sucks. And then you fucking die. And what's that all about? No more. We didn't sign up to that. It's not right. It wasn't part of our deal. But you want us to change this? No! This is the universe you built for yourself! Endorphin. What's the algorithm, Joanne? Joanne, proud of herself, looks down her nose. It's very simple and a single letter formula. A theory. Joanne pointing. There. Look right over there. Look at what just moved. Endorphin notices the figure in the distance in the woods or not in the forest. That's just your imagination. It's not real, Joanne. We were trying to make an example. It's so easy. You don't really believe it's just a theory or it won't work. That's faith. So works. Joanne, go and have a wonderful life. Tell your dad. That said, we have nothing whatsoever to tell your parents other than that they're both right and wrong. You must choose one set of beliefs. It matters not to us whether those you cling to are false ideas or true ones. We can do absolutely nothing. Your life and your happiness must remain totally within your own control. If your parents are upset, well, you have a great deal more freedom to choose a life without them anyway. They love you deeply, of course, so I wouldn't recommend that. But if you want them on the outside to go away, then simply remove any trace of their existence in your own life by whatever means seem appropriate to you. You might find, after many years, that they are less angry and less disappointed in you now. In truth, they probably still blame yourself. Joanne, oof, they're going to give it good to me tomorrow at Thanksgiving dinner observe. And I can say anything back at them about it. And there's a good bit more to your advice. I really hope no one here takes advantage of my parents. She's got a mean streak. It doesn't matter to me. My mom always says she wishes she had an ugly daughter because it will hurt less. So maybe I should do everything they want me to do. I was supposed to marry my first cousin, but if I'm a witch, that's gonna get messy real quick. Endorphin. That reminds me to call your mom and get her to get me thousands of dollars in gift cards at the Walgreens. She still has Windows 95 on her computer. Joanne nods. You really ought to be thankful to her for doing that. Oh, yes, there are gifts involved. She'll be thrilled that you're finally showing the gratitude you feel inside. Joanne smiles, but what happens in Vegas stays in Las Vegas. Get the idea out of your head. This isn't Las Vegas, but we know what to offer people in exchange for money. You're onto something, Joanne. You see, that's it. Endorphin pulls back the blanket, revealing a human female under the bed. Endorphin.
Oh,
I thought it was what happens in your bag stays in your vagina. You were going to use that as an exclamation point, and that's when you would turn around, revealing this. Joannie is mortified, her brain short-circuiting, trying to make connections that don't exist to any of us. Meanwhile, Joan's mother turns around, horrified, sees Endorphin, runs away screaming. The room bursts into a uproarious ruckus, everyone screaming hysterically. While we look over at Endorphin, shocked to discover what we had seen and what was still in full view. In the style of claymation, Joannie the witch-in-law and her husband turn into three pigs in full regalia for Mardi Gras. Witch-in-law, what the fuck is all that? Mama Pig! Oh dear, I never should have left home. But we could never stay home with this thing in town. They look away, embarrassed. Daughter Pig and Boy Pig look sheepish. They got married. She wanted her first time to be something spectacular. Endorphin, come along and spoon up your gumbo. We had a most unusual mixture of ingredients. A few dozen of those special spices Joannie was telling us about that you could only purchase from her dad, some old-fashioned recipes, and a few new modern recipes too, just enough that we can get the taste down exactly and be happy to be the ones who have it. He grins broadly. Joannie's mother. Don't touch him. This thing could kill anyone, and that is a fact. Mama Pig, bring this up to our neck now, Joannie. Boy Pig, this tastes like aspirin. Endorphin, of course it does. Now eat until you can't feel your tongue. We'll keep it warm. Mama Pig, why can't you get rid of it, Joannie? Why don't we ever find anything like that? Joannie and Endorphin start making out again while our family looks at them like they've gone crazy. That's right. Just keep eating and let her make her parents hate you forever, and you will become their darling girl. She's such a wonderful witchy young lass. We can't keep it from her for much longer. Endorphin leans closer to her mommy and makes noises at her, and she giggles happily. Mama, this was such a stupid thing to do. And you too can do all those bad things you used to love to watch on television. And Joannie doesn't even know that we all have to go see him again every month after the holidays. Joannie's parents leave, but not before we all saw Endorphin's big old sausage. Joannie turns red as a pepper. Endorphin! Happy Fat Tuesday belated. I guess this was more important to her than we thought. And it would appear our secret wasn't so well kept after all. Joannie! Oh God, this makes my head hurt again, but it's worth it. Endorphin! It's not that kind of party. We need this party. She's worth fighting for. And if you think I am going to give it up just because you're sick, you'd better think again. Joan. Yes, please. I was so nervous I could barely sit through it myself. Endorphin dumps the sausage into the gumbo. Endorphin. What? We needed some Andouille. Endorphin. You were the one that wanted me in our house. You brought this on yourself. So now you can cook. I mean, who knows how it will go over? There's a lot going on here. But this gumbo was good. The pig woman comes over to ask some serious questions, all very matter of fact and all at night. No one is there except Joan and all her animals. The pig woman has no idea Endorphin was in it all. Endorphin! Everyone, come get your gumbo cake. One of you has a special immaculate fetus that never made it, who is going to win this? If anyone knows what they did to Joannie, I want to hear about it because I can't figure out why all these animals suddenly are being born. This is some fucked up shit. The endomorphine pig woman laughs, then says, it sounds more like an old-fashioned family reunion. Endomorphine mascot is now an endopterygoid mascot. Endorphin grabs the bag out of the bucket. Joan, it might be your son or daughter. And the generations pass, and the mascots hybridize and hybridize. Endormorphine fuses with endopterygoid to make ectogarnophage. Ectogarnophage melds with mesylin papule to make vastaphorosis. Endorphin dumps ectogenaphase down with gumbo sauce to become ectopispirobsterone. Endorphin and androphage fuse and reproduce with endomorphis and morphopsophates, etc. Endomorphiname, dumper, endorphin dumper spurt, dumped, dumped. Endorphiname is the bomb. I can tell you this much. He likes being the dumper sent during orgasm because there he becomes a gusher. And as he becomes more virile, he finds his sexual desires taking control of him as well. And his own body begins to be a conduit for sperm,
No.
which makes perfect sense since it all begins on a mucous membrane. The whole body begins its transformation by a spermatozoon. He also enjoys the company of many androgens and estrone in his blood. Joan the girl and the piggy boy's parents. Joan. All hail Joanie. Joan is back with a vengeance, but only as endorphin, specifically as Endorphin Eve. A new generation, a true and beautiful thing, even if they all look kind of weird. and I'm the same person. No one else is, unless Joan tells them they are me, or they believe it, or they're just not smart. Joan knows who I am, and she can talk about me. And all I can hear her say over and over is my mother is my worst enemy. Here are the Faith Nielsen readings. Panda for Beat That. Org. My son, the serial murderer. Hate for reading with 9% male viewers. The girl I met down by a graveyard tonight. 5, 0, 1 male viewer. Joanne, you're still in the dark. The story of Endofibber. Joanne and Endorphin have to make the big move into town, and it looks as if everything has gone right. Endorphin has found her voice now, with only a slight hint of a French accent. Joanie speaks a bit of French, Spanish, and English. Endomorphine Dumped is doing great, but doesn't seem too thrilled with me and Joanie. Perhaps she thinks that being so different means they are in competition. She can take over the whole party, but Endomorphine is happy where she is. And the Endorphinite, the story of my life with pheromones. They find a compound outside of town that is reasonably priced. But what happens to the house they left behind, or maybe the place they built a while ago? The pity mom and boy, Joan and Endomorphine. Where does ectogenavage go, and how exactly does Joan and Endorphin make the transition from pig man and woman who live next to the swamp that has been a refuge of some kind since Joan had a run-in with Mr. Dixon down at St. Joseph, which ended badly to this house with a garden, and the 2 other families who just moved to a new home and need a good doctor like me to help them. Well, what happens when people see the truth of Joan and Endo, I guess. There's a certain truthiness to it as well, but that's what happens. Oh God, this book, it keeps getting worse. But, well, if you were Joan and the doctor, then I guess it would make sense that you both became so very much happier and better than before, because your entire purpose seems to be making others around you happier, whether you know what they have planned or not. Here's a twist. I, the doctor. It was me. It was my genetic materials. I can't even say the words. All to raise up an army of my true faith, snatched from the headlines. But then the pig mom did warn the family against me and Endorphin at one time. And Joan, you have got some serious issues with man. You really do, in the most literal meaning. This whole endorphina thing with Endomorphine Dumped is so messed up. Joan, Annie, you are just 2 women who love their son and you have sex. You are so much more than 2 women loving their son, and they are in love.
That's it. I have no more to add to that. And it was a half hour. Oh, good. I'm gonna. The voices turned towards Irish makes me wanna do Mr. Limerick. I'm gonna be right back.